Hi, I'm Sam Aldred, head of APAC at Wexer. Here in New Zealand, unfortunately, we're still in lockdown, which gives me the very real tricky decision making about what you do with overgrown hair. In my case, I don't have many good options. Fortunately, in my day job, in terms of helping clubs launch digital services, great digital services, there are really good options. And in my mind, before you embark on that journey, there are two clear things you need to know for building your digital fitness solution for 2022 and beyond. One, digital is no longer a cost center. It is a profit center for you. It is simply the best way for you to achieve revenue growth for your business and engage your members. Two, it's not as hard as you think. You are much closer to building a digital business than you understand. And I think all fitness businesses are already SaaS companies. We talk about this more and great hairdressing tips in the seminar. After this, I hope you enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a session looking at the future of content. One of the buzzwords in the past 18 months, there's been a huge scramble worldwide to produce, distribute, and monetize the content. But who is winning and who will win in 2022? I'd like to thank both Wexer and Les Mills, two of our long-term partners, for their support, not only in what we're doing across the globe, but specifically for this panel. Ryan Hogan, CEO of Asia Pacific for Les Mills, moderates the session alongside our good friend Sam Aldred, head of APAC for Wexer. They're joined by two unique operators, Troy Morgan, CEO of Willows Health Group from Australia, and also Kristina Sai, founder and CEO of Electric Studios in the Philippines, both of which have adopted some fantastic digital offerings. I'll leave it now for Ryan to get the panel started and look forward to another excellent discussion. Enjoy.
So welcome everybody to the next chapter of content creation, distribution, utilization, and monetization, and who will win in 2022. Looking forward to a exciting and fun panel over the next while and a good conversation to be had amongst the crew here. So I thought we might start by doing a quick round the house of quick introduction of who you are, where you are, and what have you been up to over the last 18 months. So Chris, will we start with you?
Sure. Hi, Ryan. My name is Chris C. I'm joining from the Philippines. I am the co-founder and CEO of Electric Studio. We started as the first and largest boutique indoor cycling studio in the country. Since the pandemic happened, we've switched to what we call Electric at Home. And currently, we are the largest live and on-demand fitness platform offering indoor cycling, boxing, strength training, HIIT, core, and many more.
And you're based in Manila in the Philippines?
Yes, in Manila.
Awesome. One of the longest fitness lockdowns happening at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, 18 months and counting.
Gosh. Thinking of you. Well, thanks, Chris. Troy.
Thanks.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks for having me. It's been great to be part of this panel. I'm based in Queensland, so we've been very lucky compared to Chris with regards to the amount of time we've had in lockdown, but I'm based in regional Queensland and have a big box fitness centre, but really over the last 5 years and particularly accelerated during the COVID period, creating an ecosystem of both digital face-to-face and virtual studios. So it's been an interesting time to see the change and the acceleration and acceptance of that type of model.
Awesome. Yeah, some great stories coming out of your facility. So looking forward to hearing more about that later. Sam.
Yeah, hey guys, I'm Sam. I'm the APAC lead for Wexer. Wexer is a global fit tech company supplying both in-club virtual products and obviously increasingly so a whole range of different mobile platforms. So we can build applications, web-based products that allow for the distribution of third-party content. So we're a platform builder and we're an aggregator and distributor of third-party content. But of course, increasingly important is the distribution of clubs' own content, which I guess we'll discuss today, but we also facilitate that as well.
Fantastic. And you're based in?
I'm based in Auckland in New Zealand.
Nice. Great. And my name is Ryan. I'm the CEO for Asia Pacific for Les Mills. Les Mills, created branded exercise programs that we distribute all around the world and have done so for some time. And obviously lots of digital learnings over the last 18 months. And I happen to be based in Canberra of Australia, of all places. So to get stuck into the content of the topic that we're here to discuss today, I figure the way we'll work this panel is we'll start with some questions and then, directed at specific members of the panel, and then we'll free flow and see where it takes us over the next while. So, Sam, I'm actually going to start with you, and based on your sort of insights from Wexer, really operating all around the world, and gosh, what a time to be in digital transformation and to be for an organization that has been down that path for some time. And I guess something that I think our audience might like to know is, what attributes do you think a club has to have to make that best first step in building their digital strategy?
Well, I'd say the key attribute they already have, which is a desire to succeed and support their members and help them on their fitness journey. If they've got that, then they're pretty much on their way. As for the rest, I often think, and I tell my club partners that you're already a SaaS company, but you just don't know it yet. Clubs already have lots of the attributes of a digital business. They are a subscription business, right? They have a database of members. They have a billing infrastructure already set up. They also happen to be in the content business already. It's not they're not a hardware store trying to invent themselves as a content provider. They already are in the content business. They already work with talent. They already work with content creators. And clubs already have a distribution channel, a digital distribution channel. In fact, they might even have 2 or 3 with a website, maybe a member management app or some other portal to the outside world. So I think that clubs, big or small, all have what it needs to be able to build a successful digital business.
Awesome. I really love that I've just written that down, the fact that the clubs are already in the content business. And I might steal that line from you and use that in some of our conversations. Chris, I wonder if you have some thoughts on this matter, around what a club really need to do to take that first step, and really consider themselves being in the content business. What advice would you have?
Well, for us, I can speak from our experience specifically, and what has been really crucial for us was having a strong community to start with. That for us was topmost. I mean, I've seen so many players there now actually doing digital first and trying to build their community after, or trying to build digital with their community. And I could see that it's definitely tougher. What really has made digital successful for us is the fact that going into it pre-pandemic is we really had a solid community rallying for us. And that was really everything. So what was really insane about our move to digital is, I'm sure everyone knows it's not like we planned it. We planned for it to come so soon, right? It was something we wanted to do eventually, but the pandemic really made us embrace it overnight. And what was crazy is during that time, the lockdown was so strict that we couldn't even get our bikes out and give it to our customers. So for the first month or 2 months, actually, our first set of classes in digital was really not even cycling classes. And as a purely indoor cycling studio, that was really crazy. But we had to do something. We couldn't just wait. And what was really surprising about that is our customers still moved to us, right? And given that they've never tried any of these new classes before, once Electric started doing something online, they just trusted the brand and they wanted to come together and they wanted to rally together. So they still joined Electric at home. So really my advice is know what your strengths are. I think that's number one. And for us, it was really community. The second thing is something to what Sam mentioned is you just have to have the right attitude about it. You need to have a team that knows that this isn't a stopgap, that it's definitely here to stay. And it comes with so many changes. And I know, like for us, we've been operating for 6 years and everyone got used to how things were going, right? The status quo for the instructors, you come in, it's all there laid out for you. For our managers and our crew, they knew what to do. But all of a sudden, all the roles shifted overnight and it was tough. Even till today, it's tough learning new things. It's tough having to adapt. And we spent countless hours talking to every instructor, telling them what their setup needs to be at home, giving them the right equipment, making sure the background is good. And that's tedious for them, and we get it. But given that if you just have the right team with that right attitude that's willing to embrace that change, as Sam mentioned, that is already everything, and you're well on your way.
Great advice.
Hey, Chris, I was just going to pick up just on another point, and it's something that I hear an operator fear, which I think is misguided, and you've shown that with determination and will you can overcome it. It's like digital is too competitive, and it's not for us. We can't succeed, and I think that's not true. And I also say, like, what can be more hyper competitive than the existing physical gym market? Probably nothing. So don't be scared of digital. Don't think that you can't succeed and you can't make it happen, because you can, because you have what it takes. And Chris, as you said, you have a brand as well. You have a way to touch and communicate with people that are already paying for your service. The step isn't that big. It's just knowing what you want and going after and getting it, really.
Right.
And as you said, Sam, you're already in the content business. It's just how you deliver it, which is a great line. Troy, I wonder, I might come to you on this same question. Very different situation to obviously what Chris has been through in the Philippines, and you were already on your way, as you mentioned, with your content strategy. I wonder what you think about these things around community and the level of competitiveness, and any advice you might have, tidbits for the content strategy.
Sitting here, I've absolutely loved the point that Sam and Chris have both made, particularly around that we were already in the content business. So understanding that we are already in the content business, and also Chris's point around we have that community and we have that trust. So our customers and members are already going searching for holes in our service and in our community, and they're going to people they don't necessarily trust because we're not providing that. And the amount of data that fitness businesses have access to with regards to our members' habits, how often they're coming to see us, what they're enjoying, etc., is actually giving the information we require to find those holes of service that we're not providing, and being able to, because of that trust, ask where those needs are. And they can really help, our members and clients can really help build our content strategy, our digital strategy, the touch points, and how do we then become part of our members every day, not just those face-to-face experiences. How do we become part of our members every day as that trusted source of truth for their well-being and for their health?
Love that concept around trust and community. They seem to be really, really intertwined, and a common theme I'm hearing from the two of you. Just to move on to the next bit here. So Chris, I wonder if you just might explain sort of to the audience, what is this investment that you've made in digital? What does it look like over the last 18 months? Where did it start and where did it get you to?
Yeah, so the first thing we did, of course, is we had to invest in our people, right? Because they will lead the whole change. So one is definitely invested a lot in our instructors. We had to teach them, one, how do you teach in front of a camera? Extremely different of how they used to do things. And two is we had to create new classes for digital. And so we spent weeks and months really honing on and teaching them all these new skills. Second is, of course, we had to invest in our core team, and their skills dramatically changed overnight. They had to learn all the new backend systems, all the processes they had to do. So we really doubled down on them. The other thing is investing in social media marketing. So all of a sudden, overnight, we lost that in-studio channel, and all we had was purely online. So what that meant is we had to double down on more powerful social media marketing, really talking to influencers, telling our instructors to be louder in social media. That's something that we really now heavily rely on. Outside of that, in terms of technology, so we are actually in a very unique position. Since day one, we actually built our own homegrown platform from scratch. So our booking and reservations platform, we did that in-house. The advantage to that is we were actually really quickly able to update our platform when the lockdown happened, and we tailor fitted it to the needs of our business. So some things we've done is, one is we created our own on-demand platform that integrates with our legacy booking site. So this was really key for us because we wanted it to be super convenient to customers. It also helped us with conversion because then we didn't have to tell our customers like, hey, this is our new on-demand platform. Please create a new login. It's just really taking out any friction in the process so that they can quickly hop onto that. The other key for that is then they could quickly move from live and on demand without having to log out and log in. Again, super seamless. The other tool we've launched is what we call our InstaZoom feature, which is basically integrating Zoom into our own booking platform. We really wanted to take out the friction of having people wait for links or emailing them links to their classes, which just takes so much time. So this just allows them to quickly click that on our website, get that Zoom link right away, and then launch the class. The other big digital thing we did is we had to create our own shop site where we sell all our equipment. We now sell all our accessories there. We rent out our bikes there. All our Electric Studio merch is now there. And honestly, it's been night and day. I've always wanted to move our merchandise online. And now I'm scratching my head thinking, why did it take so long for us to do this? Because it's just so much easier for our customers and also for our team. But really all of these things, I just have to reiterate that they didn't happen overnight. It really took time, and it's really a step-by-step process. And one thing we've learned throughout all these changes, and it's still changing now, is just clear communication with our customers is really, really key. They hate change too. So we had to tell them what was going to change, when was it going to happen, why is it better for them? And even if we all do that, there's still, of course, so many questions, but it's just really getting ahead of it. And making sure that your crew and your customers are on board with every single change that's about to happen.
Speaks right back to that whole piece about community, doesn't it? The strength of your community seems to have really contributed to the strength of this offering, which makes sense. And Troy, I might veer over to you again as the other operator in the room here. Similar kind of question. What does your digital transformation look like over the last, say, 18 months to 2 years? And what have been some of the highlights?
Yeah, it was really interesting to hear Chris talk about those friction points. I think traditionally when fitness talks about creating digital experiences, we have 5 or 6 different apps or platforms, and we expect the customer to be able to log into the booking app and then log into their on-demand, and it's just not a great experience. And the expectations of the customers have increased so many times based on their experiences with other products, and then they come to fitness and we expect them to log into 5 or 6 different apps. So I think that frictionless ability to create an ecosystem rather than hybrid is what we tend to talk about, to be able to bring that content, the booking systems, the ability to sync their wearable devices, the ability to make purchases all within that one system is really important. And those expectations are very high from the member to be able to do that. As Chris said, it doesn't happen overnight. It's understanding what you actually want to deliver really clearly and understanding your members, your community really well from the data that you've collected over multiple years of being in business to help you actually build that experience. We don't have to guess in the fitness industry or what type of experience the members want. All of that information is sitting in the data that we've collected over multiple years of being in business, and understanding off the back of that how they start to engage in the new experiences. What is next? What does the future look like? How can we start to create that? And the ability to create that ecosystem where a member can go from walking their dog into a 5-minute yoga session, and then at lunchtime come into a virtual sprint class. But at the same time, those members that still want to enjoy that face-to-face experience, trusting that we're not getting rid of our face-to-face staff And that once again comes down to trust, that as soon as they see those big screens go in and the immersive experience, they're getting rid of all their staff. So being very clear with that communication that this is enhancement, it's not replacement. This is the ability to create that touch point for them when they can't make it to the class. The ability to engage in content in the Willows brand when they're on holidays, whether that's listening to a podcast or doing a meditation session on the beach. Where can we create those extra touch points and that seamless experience for those members that trust us?
Right. Awesome insights there. Now, Sam, I wonder, just going to throw this one at the next question at you. You know, obviously at Wexer, you work with operators all around the world, so plenty of interesting insights here. I wonder if there was any sort of advice that you could give an operator listening or watching this that's like, okay, I've got this is my digital strategy. How do I monetize it? Any examples of someone who's done really well out of that, or a couple of tidbits around monetization that you could share?
Yeah, I guess that depends on what is it that you want to succeed, and what is the outcome that you are seeking to what is the desired outcome, and that will help dictate to you how you want to monetize your solution. And I think this is always the bit that we always try to center our conversations about. It's like, what is your why? Why are you wanting to do this? What is your desire? Because how you monetize it might be very different if you're just trying to build an audience versus you're trying to develop revenue versus you're trying to use it as a retention play, right? And just to say those three examples, I can think of three different attributes. You know, if you look at someone like Planet Fit in the news at the moment for being, demonstrating the success of their business as we've exited lockdowns in the States, but for them, their digital business is about expanding and growing their brand. It's free for people to use. It's available on YouTube. It's available through their app. They want people to use it. They want their digital experience to be part of the reason that people come and become a member and fall in love with their facilities and their brand, right? And it's working really successfully for them. If I think of one of our key partners in the region, Evolution Wellness, who have developed an incredibly successful digital brand with their virtual studio brand this year, which will be $1 million business for them year one. For them, they wanted to retain the value of digital. For them, it was about driving value through the product itself and making the experience such that people would acknowledge that and pay for it. So for them, it's a paid service, an additional tier that you subscribe to. So it's a different approach. You're still creating great content and a great platform. And then just from a retention perspective, I think of something like RSG, what McFit have done. They've used cyber aerobics incredibly effectively to increase tenure of membership, which is what they set out to do. So now if you want to become a member of McFit, if you want to sign up for a 12-month membership, you get content for free. If you don't, it's a low-cost digital tier, which has also been really successful for them. So just in those three ways, you can see how actually you can dictate your monetization and your outcome by the service that you design. The important thing is you design the service. And Chris, just like you said, you don't get these things for free. We talked a bit at the beginning about the attributes that every club has to be able to launch a service, but there are some that you don't, that you need to think about, that you need to apply thought through, whether it's developing expertise in marketing or in your team, or partnering with a technology company. But it all starts with why.
Awesome insights. Awesome. Troy, I might throw that one to you as well, because I understand you've been down quite the journey around data and around collection of, understanding your members' behavior. And I wonder, is there a way that you've managed to kind of match that up with some sort of monetization of content or digital?
Yeah, Sam's laid out the framework really well there. It's like we had Sam in our meeting when we were starting to discuss this around that monetization and understanding that why. And our first strategy piece to start with regards to our digital ecosystem strategy was around that retention. How could we drive retention through the extra services, the extra connection? And once we understood that, then the monetization through extra services to connections with schools, medical centres, corporate players within the market that come in as purely a digital member, not having to have that face-to-face experience, as well as being able to monetize your cancellations. So creating so many touch points that the member doesn't want to lose their data. They don't want to lose the access to the content that they've become used to. So being able to have that sales point at time of cancellation as well, which all fitness centers have, no matter how much we fight to be able to do that. So it actually creates a sales point at point of cancellation, which was a great way to start to monetize members that we used to lose. So really looking at that and understanding what impact that had on our retention. So we've done a lot of work on that side with the artificial intelligence system with the Keep Me guys with regards to what difference does the content they're engaging with, what visit rates, what areas of the fitness center are they using, and then understanding how those habits impact our retention, and also being able to risk stratify our membership base from low risk to medium risk to high risk, and what small changes we can make within our digital ecosystem to shift a certain percentage of our membership base from that moderate risk to low risk based on understanding what habits keep our members, and being able to have those different connection points within a whole ecosystem is really important, because a lot of the time data was sitting in one lake over here and then another lake over here, and bringing all those data sets together was just so much work. Whereas having one beautiful data lake where we can actually make some strategic decisions is just been a game changer for us.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, it's so interesting, right? Because it's so much about what you do with the data, not just having data, right? Because you have all the data in the world, but if you don't make any decisions on it, it's just there. Chris, I wonder, I might throw a similar question to you around, I think this is an important one around monetization, because I think, we've at Les Mills, we've worked with a lot of club operators that worked really, really quickly to get their digital strategy, or I'm actually going to say just to get digital offering up and running when the pandemic hit, and perhaps monetization was a secondary thought. But in your case, you had no choice, and you've had no choice for a long time. So I wonder, and maybe if I take a slight different angle on this question, how are you thinking about monetization as you think about reopening? Because your live will come at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later. How are you thinking about that, and what advice would you have for someone else out there?
Yeah, so as you said, Ryan, we had no choice. We definitely had to embrace digital. But what was interesting is we were very firm in our stance that we wouldn't give content out for free. And I know that was a very tough decision for us, because at that point, everyone was doing free content. We maybe did some like IG lives here and there just to like get our feet wet, but maybe after a week, we stopped all of that and we said, look, our content is good. We have the instructors, we have the classes, and people need to understand that, you have to pay for a premium product. So for me, really, my advice is for boutique specifically, because we do have something unique, is to really keep your content premium. There's so much pressure out there in the market to keep discounting prices, because there's just so much free content out there. And if you do that, then you're just on that road to zero. So as Sam said, right, know what your why is. And, our why for boutique was never to compete with other studios out there who are doing free classes or doing $5 monthly memberships, because it just won't work for us. So for us, it was really about, how do you give more value? And the great thing we've started doing is we've started bundling a lot of our things. So for example, our rental bikes and our boxing bags, we already priced it that included like unlimited content with that. Another thing we've done is our equipment, you can get it with a 1-year electric at home package. So you lock them into 1 year. We also give them, the ability to pay for equipment over time, or to just bundle a lot of our content, fitness equipment, and accessories together, just to make it more appealing to customers. So there's just ways to really show more value versus having to keep discounting your prices. But as we open, that's going to be the new thing, right? So now we'll have people who had credits from pre-pandemic days, but we also have people who are now subscribed to electric at home. So what would be interesting is my gut tells me that most people will still continue to do both. I think people love the convenience of having, equipment at home, but there's just nothing that's gonna ever take away from the experience of working out in studio. So we are gonna try to find ways whether to bundle the at home or in studio together, or try to find a way to keep it separate with, of course, different pricing methods. So again, this is all purely speculation now. We will see how the market reacts. But our goal really is just to make it easy for customers, right? We don't want them to have to think, oh, will I be purely just at home or purely in studio? We just believe that people will want to do both. So we're going to try to bundle it together to make it easy for them to do both.
Yeah, that makes sense. And certainly, we did a recent, Les Mills did a recent global survey of fitness consumers around the world, a number of countries, and 80% of them, this was back in June 2021, 80% of them said that yes, whilst they were intending to return to the gym, that they would also likely continue to do digital workouts beyond that. So the research seems to back up your strategy there. And I think what we're seeing in markets that are reopening is, yes, this blend of, it was already happening before, right? It was already happening before. It was just a trend that was accelerated by this time. So research backs you up. So I thought I would move over into content itself, right? Into actual, how to decide what to do with content yourself. So I'll open this question to anyone who wants to take it. So how important do you think, and actually perspective of all of you would be really interesting, is depth in your content strategy? As in, do you think the end goal is less is more, or as much as you can take? I wonder who would like to.
Yeah, well, I'll start you off, but yeah, I'll phrase it like my university essays. The answer's both. Look, we all know that traditionally in content terms, a small proportion of your catalog takes up most of the views. I think 2% of Spotify is 90% of the plays, right? But we all sign up to Spotify just as we do Netflix because the catalog gives us everything, right? There isn't. The analogy doesn't quite 100% translate through into what we offer, but I think it's a pretty good statement. So I think you need to kind of do as much as you possibly can, both in terms of programming, so you cover all your basic exercises, but also a volume that feels sufficient to the eyes of the modern consumer who expects a lot. From our experience, we think that people do a workout about 1.5 times before they move on to another one. But I think also important is the mix between, if you're talking about a club operator, is the content that you produce yourself versus the content that you might bring in from a third party. And I think it's really important to do both of them. Your content is your talent and it's your brand. It's instructors that people know and perhaps have already fallen in love with. And I think that's really critical to have in your service. And you can use a content library to support that and give you more access to more things and allow you different things to do with, play around with it with marketing and sales and stuff. But how's that?
Fantastic. Thanks, Sam. Troy, Kristina, perspective of an operator, what would you say?
Yeah, I really agree with Sam and the analogy with Spotify, that 2%, and then you've got the other 98%. I think it's really important to have that 98% there because it's that interpretation of the member of value. It's like traditionally when you do a tour of our centre and they sign up because there's a pool. Do they ever use the pool? Probably not, but they signed up because the pool is there. But I feel it's the same with content. But also the ability, if the member is giving us data. So I've consumed 4 high-intensity workouts this week. The ability to have a content library that then directs me into a lower intensity recovery program is really important to give that member a feeling of personalization with what content we're pushing to the member. So having an extensive library with regards to that, but not what we've really learned is it's not just exercise or recovery with regards to movement, it's education around that. Ryan, you've done 3 high intensity classes this week. Would you like to learn about how to do better recovery within your week? And we have a podcast ready to go. Or why not try this 10-minute stretch class to help your recovery session? So the ability for the member to choose their journey is really important. And then that comes down to the depth of your library, because we tend to like to have that nice funnel to drive our members down, but it's very spirally, particularly with regards to how, from week to week, even just with one member, what their choices are based on stress levels, sleep, children, the whole thing. So having the ability for that member to have a very spirally journey and choice, I think, is really important.
Chris, any thoughts on breadth and depth or narrow focused content?
Yeah, well, definitely I agree. The having a large library is good for the sell-in, right? People love the idea like, oh, I'm going to have access to all of these classes. But truthfully, what we're seeing is what people watch are the new stuff. So for us, that's what's most important, is we always have new content on a regular basis, and whenever we have new content up and we look at the views, it's so fast. Like in the day that we launch something up on our on-demand site, we'll see like hundreds view them right away. The older ones, definitely you don't even see them, increase in viewership anymore, unless it's like their favorite instructor and they keep wanting to rewatch that. But that's really seldom. So for us, definitely it's the new content on a regular basis is the most important. The other thing too, for us specifically for boutique, is focused content. We don't see ourselves in the business of creating like 30 different classes or 50 different classes, anything you could see out there. For us is we prefer a focus on, just a handful of fitness modalities and really just going deep into those modalities. So maybe like for cycling class, we have, different types of classes within that, like the short class, the long class, or different types of cycling classes for, whatever your goal is. But we plan to just focus on a few and go deep within those few, because for us, our brand still has to really show within those classes. And we believe in just playing in our strengths and knowing what we're good at. We feel like if we do like 30, 40 different class types, it just might dilute the brand, because what's important for us is the classes they're seeing online still feels like our in-studio classes, to make sure that, what they're getting, they know it's an electric class.
Yeah, great insights. Great insights. This is a slight segue, and again, happy for anyone to answer this. Through this global survey we did recently, we know that, or we found out that live classes at the gym are more than twice as appealing as live streamed classes at homes. Live streamed classes at home, I should say. I wonder if anyone here has a thought about the future of live streaming in a sort of post-pandemic situation. If anyone had any thoughts or insights on that.
We didn't go down that path, and I think Chris, as she said, invested very heavily in the ability for her instructors to be able to do that. It's a special talent, and competing against the Wexers, the Les Mills, the Wellness Solutions of the world, we thought no, we would actually partner, and we used our coaches and our instructors to actually introduce the programs that were coming. So there was still our face to those when we were in lockdown, and making recommendations around that, and then coming back in at the end of those programs to then talk about their experience with it. So that was the decision we made. But having looked at Chris's website, she's got some very talented instructors, and I can understand why that live streaming is very appealing as well. Not that our instructors aren't talented, but just the different types of talent.
Anyone else, any thoughts on live streaming they want to add here?
Yeah, I mean, I always think that probably for a club, it's easier to produce on command content because you're much easier to be in control of the production and the quality. But that said, you should, I think, definitely just be in that game of producing that content. We are in the age of the individual. Influencers are a perfect example of that. I think there's 50 Premier League footballers with more Instagram views than the Premier League itself. The Kardashians have got more followers than Vogue. The individuals really lead it through, and they can lead it through for your club. So I'd say let your talent sing and be successful for your club, whether they're live or on demand. But Chris, you've probably got a much better idea than me. What works best for your members from a live or on demand perspective?
Well, we don't have in studio yet, but live versus on demand. Most of our members are definitely doing both. Like 100% sure it's more of an anomaly for them to just choose like on demand only. But we are seeing that those that do both have there's a huge premium for them for live. And I think that's really because that, it's different for them just to see their instructor, that the instructor can talk to them, the instructor can see them, they know their name. Even the talking to each other in class, like seeing familiar faces. Note that because we don't have in studio, live is the closest thing that we have towards that in studio experience. For them, live is just something that really pushes them. I myself, if I do an on-demand class, I'll always check my phone. I'll press pause if there's something else. But when you're on that live class, you dedicate your time, those 45 minutes for that. And if the instructor can see you, you're 100% in it. So for us, live versus on-demand, live is just it's just something that our members really hold on to. On demand is more of, it's crazy convenient, right? So they want that as an add-on because they want to work out with us anytime, anywhere, and always. When we do open, I don't see us taking away live just because for folks with equipment at home, they're going to want that live experience. So the biggest challenge for us when we reopen is how do we marry the in-studio, the live, and the on-demand? All of a sudden, we have 3 channels and multiple studios opening. So it's going to be a challenge. I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Interesting challenge, and probably a bit of a unique challenge, I would say as well, given how long and how sophisticated your digital offering has gone on for. So very interested. Okay, just getting up towards the end of things here. I think I suppose a question for the operators in the room. How do you choose when to partner or if to partner with a third-party content provider versus creating your own? Are there any thoughts rolling around your heads there? Maybe Troy, might ask you first.
Yeah, obviously, I also work in the corporate wellbeing world and took a lot of experience from what was happening in that world around the ability to partner with great content providers to create that great engagement and not being able to be the expert in everything, finding out where the holes are in the content that you can create, and then finding the best partners to partner with to fill those holes so that we're giving the best experience we possibly can to our members, making sure that there's clinical governance around the information that we're providing to our members so that it's safe and that the programs are right and the right combination of those programs as well. So I think it's really understanding, once again, going back to Sam's why are you doing this? What content do you have and what content do you do well? Where are the gaps? Where is the members' demand based on what you know of your member and what trends you can see coming? And then that creates the strategy for you with regards to when to partner and when to create yourself.
Chris, as another operator, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so we actually haven't taken content out there yet. Right now, we're extremely focused on the content being ours. But in terms of partnerships specifically, I think what we've been focused on is a different set of partnerships, given we're in this crazy, unique situation of being locked down for so long. We've definitely rallied behind all of the partners we used to work with pre-pandemic. And I think we all just naturally came together and rallied together to form strategic partnerships to just add more value to customers. So less on the content space. So for example, we've relied heavily on our partnerships with equipment manufacturers for us to be able to continue selling our hardware. So selling and renting all our bikes and other equipment out. Some unique partnerships we've done is we've actually partnered with the largest telecom company in the country so that they market electric at home and our equipment to their subscribers. It allows them to get an electric bike or package by upgrading their phone plans, or even redeeming their rewards. It's just another channel for us. Interestingly, we've actually partnered with some of the big gyms locally who have excess inventory. We've taken some of their stuff as well and put it in our fold and bundled it with our content. So it's just another example of really all of us working together. The other thing we've done, which is really funny and again, probably unique to our situation, is we've partnered with a lot of the premium hotels in the market. Because right now, when anyone comes in, they have to quarantine for like 5 to 7 days in a hotel, and there's only so much Netflix you can watch and emails you can send. So we actually deliver our equipment and content to these quarantine guests. So it's just another channel for us. So for us, that's really been the focus of our partnerships, less on the content, but more of just trying to get our online content more available to the market.
Fantastic. Great. And just honing in again on content. So, elephant in the content room, Apple, Peloton, Amazon, Google, Les Mills, massive content providers. What do you think we can learn from these players and for what they're doing? And most importantly, not just what can we learn, but how can we leverage what they're doing and grow off the back? And Sam, I might throw that one at you if to begin with.
Yeah. Well, good news is they're growing the category, so that's got to be the rising tide and all that. But I think the number one thing we can learn is that they are brilliant at building ecosystems. They bundle value in an amazing way, and fitness to them is another tool to be able to generate more value and bundle it and make more people fall in love with their brands and their products and services. And I guess what better way to think of digital within your business? Like you already are in the business of building an ecosystem. Digital is another attribute that you need to do to build a better ecosystem to make your customers more in touch, more aligned to your business, but also you're in the business of keeping people fit. What better way to keep them fit all the time is to be part of the attention economy when they're at home, and most of the time they're not in your gym, they're somewhere else. So reach out and touch them there.
Awesome. Troy, any thoughts on these big brands and what we could learn from them?
Yeah, where are the opportunities so that trust comes back? So we see our members face-to-face a whole lot more than Apple ever sees them face-to-face. So where's that opportunity to use the trust we have within our community? So we've synced Apple Health Kit to our ecosystem so that the members that are really using Apple Health Kit, then they can use that data to understand what they're doing within our centre as well. S Health that also syncs to our app, and Garmin, Fitbit, etc. So understanding that's where our members are, that's where they're consuming. So let's bring them in and have access to that data so that we can make personal recommendations based on what we're seeing for them, because we're the trust in that relationship. So how can we connect the data that they're giving to those bigger brands into our smaller ecosystem to connect them more to the products that we're actually offering? So seeing it as an opportunity rather than competition.
100%. Chris?
Yeah, for me, same thing. It's more awareness in the category, because it is relatively new for people to be working out online and at home. So the more players that are out there, all these big players being out there, just adds more familiarity to our customers. People are even using it as a stepping stone before coming to us, because there is free content from these big players. So a lot of our people, we find them trying them out, and then they come back or they do both together, right? So as Troy mentioned, what's unique about us is we know our customers, they know us, they want that sense of community. So we do see people coming back after trying, or they like doing both. So it's great overall.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think I agree with all the sentiments around rising tide, around, doing a great job for the category. Brands like Apple and, consumer brands, I should say, like Apple and Google and Amazon. I mean, them getting involved in our space can only lift the awareness of the space. And then what it comes down to is how can we differentiate, right? And I know certainly in the Les Mills ecosystem, we talk so much about instructors, right? The instructors, your talent that you manage are everything, right? And leveraging them to drive trust, to drive community, all words that we've discussed over the last 45 minutes, I think are really, really critical. Okay, just to sort of kind of head towards the end of this, the next 12 months, you have a crystal ball, you look at 12 months ahead. What are the next 12 months of content and utilization, distribution? Any thoughts on content over the coming 12 months? Who wants to take that one?
For me, it's not so much about the content that's coming, but how are we driving people to the right content? So if our members are giving us data, what are we giving in return? So in the fitness industry, traditionally, we've been very good at taking data, but we've not been so great in giving back around personalization with that data that they're giving us. So for me, I think it's building ecosystems that allows a lot more personalization with regards to recommendations around the content that the member is best suited to with regards to their goals, their likes, their programs, etc. So I think the content will grow. Our ability to connect people to the right content is where the big opportunities are.
Awesome. Chris, crystal ball, the next 12 months of content?
Well, definitely personalization. I mean, we're already starting to see it. That's definitely something we want to explore, especially given that we have the data of what people are doing online, and soon we'll have the data as well of what people are doing when we start to reopen. So it's really having that 360-degree view of a customer's fitness journey. And so we're able to make recommendations. The other thing we want to explore, which is really key for boutique, I think, is how do we engage our customers across different channels? How do you keep that community connection strong? How do you have that omni-channel community-based interaction? I mean, these are all things that we want to do. Of course, we'll do it, baby steps, and see what kind of inroads we can do with that. But personalization and a way to communicate, whether you're in studio or online with your instructors and your community, for me, I think that's definitely going to happen the next 12 months.
Great. Sam?
Ryan, you gave us a great stat at the start of the session around, I think it was 80% of gym goers will continue using digital workouts post-pandemic. I'll give you a couple more. We have 57% of members expect a club to offer a hybrid solution, and also 52% of them are prepared to pay for it. So I'd say the future of content is more distribution, more great content, and hopefully more members paying for it.
Agreed. All right, final thoughts. We're coming up to the last couple of minutes here. I'll go in that same order. Troy, any final thoughts for this audience around what we've been discussing?
Find ways to become part of your members every day.
Excellent. Chris?
I think the people, the core thing is really just focus first on having a good product. Good product means good classes, good instructors. I mean, that's really harder to come by than having this full scale production and cinematography in your classes. I mean, awesome cinematography, but a bad class is still a bad class. Acceptable cinematography, but an awesome class will always still be an awesome class. And that holds true pre-pandemic, right? Like you can have the fanciest studio, but a horrible workout is still a bad workout. But a great class you can sell and you can monetize no matter what your studio looks like. So really focus on your product.
Right, focus on the product. And Sam?
Look, don't be afraid of digital. Be confident and positive about what it can bring. From a physical perspective, club managers think of nothing but how can they drive people through the door and repeat visits all day. The best way to drive repeat visits is through having a front door that's open 24/7, and that's a digital club that's a companion to your physical club. So go for it. It will be successful for you.
Agreed. Yep. And I'll just wrap up by saying, yep, our recent global study talks, people were expecting you to have a digital presence. People are not expecting for the digital offering to disappear when your doors reopen if they aren't already reopened. So if not now, when, right? If not now, when? And to be able to compete against, these brands we discussed, the Apples, the Pelotons, or the Amazons, they can't offer that omni-channel experience that you can. They can't offer that experience that Troy talks about touching their members a number of times a day, both in club and online. And now is the time. That is the future. I firmly believe that is the future. Well, to the distinguished panel, thank you very much for taking your time out this afternoon. It was great to share the screen with you, and I hope that everyone listening got lots of benefit out of that. And I look forward to seeing you again, hopefully in person, sometime over the next 12 to 18 months. Would be great. Have a great afternoon.